it seems to me that it, some of the themes that you dabble with in intertwine are still being explored in this new collection. Some of the themes.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought of it. Tell me what are things you're noticing?
Well, the relationships, like you talk about relationship, the man-woman relationship, and things like that.
Even though Intertwined is the first book that I wrote, and for some reason, I have a lot of friends who simply love that book.
Uh huh.
Um, it's not a book that I haven't read Intertwined in so long I could barely remember the stories. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be honest. I have not read Intertwined in a while. I do. I wrote the book, so I do know the stories, but sometimes it's difficult for me to remember specifics
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
about the book. But definitely exploring relationships, because I try to write about life and life experiences, and when you do that, um, you will have common themes. You will be exploring relationships. You will be and the dynamics of various types of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you will be exploring themes that are universal. Themes generally are universal, but
Yeah. Yeah.
when you do certain topics, it's unlikely that you will depart from um, from common themes.
Yeah. 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 Let's go back to the beginning. When I said we used to be consuming imported stories, now we can tell our own stories. We can export our stories. Mm, do you think these stories will be easily or readily be um, accepted, observed with the language you've used, the Creolese?
I think
I see
so.
you've had some footnotes. You had some footnotes along the way, right?
I did,
Yeah.
particularly for the first story, and I was hoping that because a lot of what would have the language and register that I would have used in the first story repeated themselves in the other story. So I only needed to do the footnotes mostly in 3 weeks later.
Okay.
But the feedback that I've got about that book came mostly from folks here, non Guyanese. And um, they were blown away by the amount of learning um, that would have occurred from having read that book. Because, like I said, I try to tell the stories in a way where I'm just not focusing on the character stories,
Mm,
but I'm
mm.
also using the setting as a character and the history as a character. And so the those stories become even more valuable because they're opportunities to learn about um, Linden in and of itself, but also a little bit about Guyana and its history and its culture.
Yeah. You know, as you're talking, I'm seeing that this book going to insert, that you can be prepared for schools, you know, with lessons at the end, discussions, things to do afterwards. It's I can see this book. Have you thought about doing anything with this book other than just
Sorry, I actually have. The last time I was in Guyana in July and August. I spoke with the Region 10, and the intention was that I would have gone to the ministry, but I hardly left Linden. You know,
Talk, talk, girl.
I was in Guyana for 2 months. I went to Georgetown twice. And on both occasions, it was actually, it was 3 times. On 2 occasions, I only went to Georgetown because I had things to do. I didn't go into Georgetown proper. One occasion, I went to the Linden Park, picked up something, back to Linden. The other occasion, I went to Gaffur's, bought some stuff, back to Linden. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Because we're talking culture. And I think this is a good opportunity for me to point out that the culture of Guyana's roads has become so ridiculous, for want of a better word, that I go to Lena, I don't want to travel.
Oops.
I don't want I don't want to use the road, so I go home and I stay in the house. And it's unfortunate because and I'm going to write an article about that. Um, how we've allowed chaos to dominate our roadways to the extent that you are limiting, or you're limiting opportunities
Yep.
for people to really engage
Yep.
with Guyana and its culture, and all the beautiful things that there are to engage with in Guyana.
And the road is to
And
encourage such a thing. You know, the road was built to open. All right. All
exactly.
right.
And in fact, what has happened, you just made a good point. What has happened is that they've, because of the chaos on the road, it's essentially closed off
Wow.
opportunity
It
for you to
limits.
enjoy
It
life.
limits. Yeah. Yeah.
So back to the question that you asked. Um, yes, that is something that I've considered, and I will be making approaches to the Ministry of Education with a view to having that as one of the texts that they could potentially use in schools.
Yeah. You've got to do some work with it. Prepare it for schools. Yeah. But good luck with that. And I hope you get
Thank
more
you.
time to write. Yeah? Because it seems like there's this urge now. I mean, the second book. How long should I wait for the third book? You know what I mean?
Next
And I'm
year,
sure there are stories there just waiting, or there's something.
Legends of the Blackwater 2. I'm sorry to interrupt. Legends of the Blackwater 2 is coming next year. I already have stories.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to add, I have been working with Romola Lucas,
Uh huh.
and she is from the Caribbean Film Association, and I think she does several film projects in Guyana as well as outside of Guyana. We've been working on a screenplay based on one of the stories that I did not include in um, this first edition of Legends. But in the next publication, you'll have that story in it. So I already have about 5 stories for the next edition. So yes, next year,
Go
Legends of
girl.
the Blackwater,
Go
or it
girl,
might be
go.
more Legends of the Blackwater.
Go girl, go. As you're going, as we parting, but still let's part on a good note. Humor and horror. Is there a story with lots of humor and lots of horror that balances the story?
I'm not sure I know what you mean. Are you talking about a story from my book, or
From the
you're talking
collection.
about
Yeah, from the collection.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, Carby Gold. That's the one I was talking about, where I played around with a couple of things, and um, I tried to add humor to the genre horror, the horror genre, and I quite like it. I like the result. I also like the feedback that I've been getting from people regarding how it played out. So we've got strong messages, we've got strong themes. Um, it's an interesting story, but also it's a funny story, right? And so it gives you an opportunity. It gives the reader an opportunity to um, consider things that would otherwise be um, induce fear in a light-hearted manner,
Ah,
right? You can actually take the time to consider these things because there's an opportunity to laugh at it and perhaps even laugh at yourself, right? While acknowledging that there are very real possibilities within this realm.
You know what you said I was trying to do all these years is to use our literature, right? Our literature to see how we can deal with our own problems. Because very often time, like you did, the writers are doing that, right? They're comprehending what's happening, they're expressing how we can do it, the resolution, they are all there. And all these years I've been trying to get people to use our own stories, support our own writers, because there's a lot. There's a lot going on around us. Take, for instance, the books that I name, and there are quite a few others from Linden, and there are quite a few other writers from Linden who's won the Guyana Prize also. But that's for another time. That's for another time. So thank you so very much. This is a great conversation. Um, a sort of
Thanks for having me, Petamber.
a question that I like asking now. Sell this book to Guyana and the outer world.
Hmm. Ah, I'm not a good saleswoman. I'll try. Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch. If you want to learn about Guyana, its culture, its beliefs, in a way that has not previously been explored, Legends of the Black Water is the book for you. I hope I did a good job. Like I said, I'm not a good saleswoman. I
I,
tried.
I like that. I like that. Thank you so very much and good luck with your writing.
Thank you so much, Petamber. Thanks for having
You're welcome. Bye.